The Arkansas Genealogical Society was created in 1962.
So they decided to find other people who are interested in genealogy and bring them together to take care of this particular aspect of it.
I always, as president, looked at the organization as an umbrella organization that was not a brick and mortar, not a monthly meeting place, but it was the group that offered services and help to other local organizations.
It took off the first memberships like 300 and something. But mostly the membership was from Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, the neighboring states, and California. Because during the 1930s, all the Arkies and Okies fled to California during the Dust Bowl. So their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren are out there, and they're interested in Arkansas family roots.
AGS is an educational facility, you might say, that we're there to help people not only research and look for their family, but to teach them how and where to research.
And one of the great puzzles with genealogists is how to figure out why people left South Carolina and came to Arkansas. And why did they settle in the mountains of Arkansas instead of down along the Mississippi River?
Probably land records would be one thing that it would be. They would have better luck finding things, I think.
But then some people keep moving on, and so they end up in Arkansas, having lived in Mississippi and Tennessee and Georgia and North Carolina.
Would have better luck finding things, I think, to actually go to a courthouse. And although there are a lot of those.
The only way to research was to get in the car, drive to the local library or the courthouse, and of course that gives you a reason to take a road trip.
I was always told that we had an ancestor that was an Italian prince, and found that interesting. But when I was a student at Hendrix, I took Renaissance and Reformation, and I came to a sub-chapter that was on that family.
They had been granted federal land to attract people to come settle by their railroad to help pay for the railroad.
Who neighbors were, who might also be related or have information.
Up in the mountains of North Georgia, up on the foothills of the Appalachians, up around Dahlonega and LJ in that area, Gainesville, you're looking at the mountains. When you go to Montgomery County, Arkansas, where my family settled, you're looking at the same sort of scenery. People tended to settle in a place much like they came from. Look where they are living in Arkansas, because Arkansas's got all these natural areas, mountains and plains and river valleys. See where they're living and look in that state for a place like that. And it really does pay off.
Today, the road trips are not what they once were, partially due to COVID and partially due to new means of research, and everything seems to be online these days. But if you're just unable or unwilling to do that, hey, get online. There is a lot of information, and now with the DNA, it's just amazing the worlds that are being opened up.
When basically you didn't have internet available, to now when there's so much available that it's just something we need to be thankful that we live when we do.
I have some younger friends who are just getting into genealogy, and they seem to think that if they Google a name and it's not there, then it's not available. You know, so there's a lot to online research, and there is a lot, if not most all information is out there. I won't say it's all there, but a lot is. I will say be careful. Just because it's on the internet does not mean it's true.
Online courses that are available now to help people understand the process that's involved and where to go to find resources.
Usually it's land that's the attraction. The land is always better, greener than the other pasture.
He had an ancestor that the entire family and all of their records had that he was from Germany, and yet could never find any information from Germany. And just a few years ago, she ran across something and found out he wasn't from Germany, he was from Jersey.
To me, it's fun to visit cemeteries and see the graves were close together in the cemetery instead of being scattered out in other places.
I had two ladies that they said, you go over there and make notes and copy and we'll bring you books. And for probably 2 hours, these two ladies spent just digging stuff out, finding the right page and bringing it to me. That's what genealogy is about to me. It's not only the history of your family and learning about that, but it's making friends and learning from others and teaching others.
Centers around land, which, by the way, is one of the great reasons people came to this country. But you could get land in the New World, and usually you could get it free and clear.
Interesting thing to me was finding my 4 times great-grandfather's Revolutionary War pension application.
One of my ancestors died while he was in the process of proving his homestead. His son, who was the administrator of the estate, finished the homestead, and he supplied the information on his father's death date. And it's the only record of that man's death.
Somebody asked her if she was going to live to be 100, and she said, well, I might. My grandpa lived to be 105. But in my research, neither of her grandfathers lived long lives, but neither one of them made it to 105.
Genealogy has actually evolved over the years. It's more than just a pedigree chart, which just lists so-and-so begat so-and-so, just like the Bible. Now people really want to know, well, what was this family doing? Were they slaveholders? Or were they sharecroppers? Did they fight in the war, the Civil War on the northern side or the southern side? Educators selected a public school, I think it was in New Orleans, a large urban public school, it was a middle school, and they went in and taught a course, several-week course on genealogy, and then got the kids enthused about doing research on their family. Now, this is urban kids. This was several years ago. And then they interviewed them, as educators love to do, their follow-up interview. And one young lady, she said, I liked to look at genealogy because it is the story of me. And I thought it was so poignant. It is the story of you and I and us.
So the roots of my family lie deep in the ground. The spirits fly with me whenever I'm down. The guardian angel sent from above, save me from the devil with all